Oh, 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 oh. Hey, what's going on? What's happening, people? It's your boy. It's me. So these intros is getting worse. Don't worry. The reason I'm stopping making doing the music in these intros for one. Well, not stopping, but I'm just taking a break from doing one. It's too hot in my room. I don't feel like moving around. But and two, I'm actively working on trying to have like my own like intro, like dedicated to that guy right there. So I'm just giving these a break, and also because no copyright issues. So I don't want these to bite me in my ass later. So just I know some people was asking what was the music last episode, and even gonna be for this episode. But yeah, just giving them a break. Oh fuck, the BBL thumb is back. Uh, You know what I'm saying? It's about that time. But welcome back to episode 20 of the Lazy Cast. I'm your greatest host, Jalen. It's real me, it's Bitmoji me. Um, and we're back. Now I know I said I was gonna give my predictions on and y'all just see me vote, but I made an executive decision because the All-Star break is literally like next week. I was like, I'll just wait until because it was like going around and like they were gonna announce the starters. Like the day I was gonna do the what's it called? Voting for my All-Star starters, they just fucking decided to announce who was gonna be starter. And my list, or my I guess you could say starters, wasn't necessarily going to be too different. I think my West starters would have been relatively the same. Um, and the East starters would have been relatively the same, except for one person. And I think you can all guess who that one person is, as a lot of people have been saying. But all in all, I think my starters would have been relatively the same. So it would have just been I dropped that, and then later tonight it would have been, oh yeah, these starters are doing the same. So I was like, I just waited. So yeah, that was one thing, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, so that's why I pushed that video back, and I was like, I'll just wait until they announce the starters. But other news outside of the All Star starters being announced, and with the format going back from, I mean, leaving from two captains picking so and so and so and so, they're going back to East or West. Give my thoughts on that. Talk about who got snubbed, in my opinion. And I'm introducing this new segment where it's just simply around the world, aka around the NBA. Because what I used to do prior to what I'm doing now is I used to just recap the last two games, or like the 2 days of just games, and just do that. So with this, I'm able to just talk about everything that's been going on in the NBA. So whether that been Doc Rivers becoming a head coach, that didn't happen in the last 2 days. So it's like, oh, I can't talk about it. Now I can. All the recent scoring from Joel dropping 70, Luka dropping 73 last night, 60 from Cat, talking about that. Talking about, a bunch of other stuff, just dealing with basketball and NBA news as a whole. So that'll be just something to behold. But before I even get started to that, make sure you guys do a couple things for me. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that dandy stuff, post notice. But with all else fails, let's get into the All-Star starters. Now, when I said that my list, well, not even list, I shouldn't even say list. When I said that my starters would have relatively been the same, they honestly would have. Um, as we see the two captains. And the one thing, and I get why they're still doing this, because these two right here, being LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo, these two I believe had the most votes as like in both, out of both conferences, whether it been front court, back court, whatever. These two just, I think, accumulated the most votes. So I understand that. But if we're not doing a draft anymore, I kind of don't understand why we need captains. Like I'm it lose you lose me when it's like, okay, we had captains these last couple of years because the captains were gonna pick, you know, who they wanted type shit. And that was perfectly okay with me. It made a lot of sense. But because we're going back to East versus West, it kind of doesn't make sense, in my opinion, to even have captains because they're not choosing anybody. They're not choosing the reserves. They're not choosing the starters. They're not choosing shit. I believe the reserves, because I don't think they're even doing a draft this year. If they are, then I'll take back what I just said. But I don't believe they're doing a draft this year. So it kind of just defeats the purpose of having a captain. You know what I'm saying? If the captain can't even pick who the fuck they want on their team. So I just think that's kind of weird, but and just the whole concept of them going back to East versus West is also kind of redundant because they left this a long time ago because it wasn't working and people were saying that the All-Star game was stale. So they went to drafts and now that I guess people didn't fuck with that. So now they're going back to this and it's just gonna be like a repeating cycle. I honestly thought they should have just kept with the draft. So Team LeBron versus Team Giannis or whatever the case may be, and just have them niggas just draft. And I don't think it was necessarily the All Star game that was stale. I think it was All Star weekend that was getting stale. So 3-point contest, dunk contest, skills challenge, all that other stuff. And I'll get into that a little bit later on what I think they could do to maybe improve or get more eyes on the All Star weekend because All Star weekend is a big screen for this. All Star weekend is 1,000% the best All Star event out of any sports, whether it be MLB, football, hockey, baseball, soccer. If they have one, it's the best out of all of them. It doesn't really matter. So they could keep this format for 20 more years and it'll still be fun. Even though the Pro Bowl is kind of like the events at the Pro Bowl, not the Pro Bowl or so, but the events at the Pro Bowl are quite fun. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, those shits is fun. And watching the home run derby for the MLB after recording baseball and doing baseball, I ain't gonna lie, that home run derby shit is pretty fun. I'm, I'm not gonna lie. But as a whole, I think when it comes to just as an all-star event or all-star weekend or whatever the case may be, Pro Bowl weekend, whatever the fuck, the NBA clears every other sport. I think that's safe to say. I don't think that's a hot take to say. Um, but I think there's ways that you can improve it. So that's just simply what I think. But looking at the Eastern Conference, this is what a lot of people I think said that the league got wrong or that because I believe, let me quickly. So, yeah, it's 50% fans, 25% NBA players, and then the other 25% is also media. So, looking at this, going just based off this, all these votes and weighted scores and la 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 la, all this other stuff taken into consideration. So I don't. It's weird, and I forgot I'm not sharing the screen. So yeah, taking all this into consideration, and then also all the votes and what have you and whatnot. This makes this I think even more weirder because you have Damian Lillard starting over Jalen Brunson, but you go off player rank, media rank. Only thing that really fucked it up, I guess you could say, was fan rank. But even then, Trey Young should be starting over both of them if we're going off the fan rank. But I don't know, it's weird. But ain't even introduced the starters. I'm over here talking about who shouldn't be starting. But yeah, with the Eastern Conference, we have Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is the captain. So front court, these three, self-explanatory. I don't think anyone has a problem with this. Joel, MVP. I don't think that's a hot take to say. Joel Embiid has been playing like the MVP from start to finish. He's had career highs seems like across the board, especially I think the most important one is in terms of his assists and getting playmaking involved with other teammates. And yeah, he just dropped 70. So also, so he's pretty much got that shit locked up. In my humble opinion. Tatum, again, self-explanatory. And Giannis also self-explanatory. So these three, I don't think anyone has a problem with. Is when we get to the backcourt is where people start to get a little upset. We have Tyrese Halliburton, first year starter, first all-star year. Granted, he is hurt right now. So I don't know if he'll be ready in time for the All-Star break or All-Star game in particular. If he is, great. If he isn't, then because I noticed a lot of people were saying Tyrese, and then I was looking, I'm like, is he not hurt? Like, but I'm assuming people would assume he's gonna be back in time for the game at bare minimum. Or even if he does play in the game, they'll probably pay him for like 5 to 10 minutes and then they'll just sit his ass out so he won't get hurt anymore. But I guess. But yeah, Tyrese Halliburton, self-explanatory. I don't think this needs any type of an argument or any type of debate. Has Indiana, I believe, at like a top 6, top 5 seeds in the East right now before he got hurt. Had that crazy run in the in-season tournament. I think that is what really like solidified him. That's like, yo, this motherfucker is really nice. So yeah, Tyrese Halliburton is what really isn't the biggest problem here. It is this guy, Damian Lillard. And now when we pull up Dame, people are gonna say, "Oh, Dame is having he's having a good year." Blah 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 blah. And while yes, Dame statistically isn't having a terrible year, he's having a solid year. I'm not gonna lie. With these shooting splits and stats and all this goody goody boo boo blah, putting up 25 per game, 4 rebounds, basically 7 assists, a steal, on 42% shooting, 34% from the three, and 92% from the free throw line. Playing all 42 games, been relatively healthy. Starting all 42 games. So yeah, Dame has been solid. Dame has been good. He's been definitely a down year, especially if you look at his last 5 games. You can kind of see it, especially when it comes to the shooting splits, where he's putting up 26 against 4, 6, 1 on 2 turnovers, not even 40%, 37%, and damn near 27% from the three. So shooting the ball, Dame has been struggling. I think he's getting majority of his buckets from off of layups and free throw points, which again is fine. Get your buckets how you get them. I'm not gonna talk too much shit on Dame because again, he's my point guard. But he did not deserve to start over these really 3 guys, if you want to be honest. And the one guy that I would have had as my starter, that I would have had starting alongside Tyrese Halliburton, and I've heard other names, and I'm gonna go through those other names as well. But he shouldn't have started over for fucking Jalen Brunson. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Jalen Brunson, first off, ever since the OG Anunoby trade, and this is a crazy stat that I saw. Ever since the OG Anunoby trade, I believe the Knicks are like 11-4 or 11-2, and they went from being like the 8th seed with like the worst ranked defense to since that OG trade to being, I believe, the 4th seed, and now they have the number 1 ranked defense in the league, or for the month of January, I should say. And with these stats and shooting splits as a whole for the last 5 games, I don't even think it's. And I also think with all the talk that's been around him from what was her name, Becky Hammond on ESPN, saying that she doesn't believe you can win with Brunson as your number 1 guy. Well, she wasn't wrong. I don't think. Not to bring up old shit, but I don't even think she was wrong. But there's been a lot of talk around Brunson, really all season long. From him obviously being a Knick, so it's gonna naturally have eyes on him. But now with him not even starting in the All-Star game. He's still going to be an All-Star. I'm not going to go as far as to say this nigga's not even going to be an All-Star, but if Tyrese Halliburton isn't going to be healthy come All-Star game, I would bet money that he's going to be the replacement starter, either him or one of the two other guys that I'm going to talk about eventually. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is, man. It is what it is. It is what it is. But looking at his stats as a whole, putting up damn near 27 points per game, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, on 48% shooting from the field, 42% shooting from the three, and also 87% or 84%, sorry, from the free throw line. The 42% from threes was really like this was really like blowing my fucking mind. I remember in early this season, he was shooting like damn near like 45, 40, like 6%, closer to 50%. And I was like, there's no way this nigga's gonna keep this shit up for a majority of the season. And he's relatively kept it up. He's only dropped down like I think a couple percent, maybe what, couple like 3-4%. Even still, 42% is quite good. And if we even want to look at the last 5 games that he's played, he's averaging 32 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, almost a steal, 54% from the field, same percentage from 3, and while shooting 85% from the 3. I mean from the free throw line. 85% from 3 is crazy. So this would have been he would have been my pick for the All-Star starter in that court alongside what's his name, Tyrese Halliburton. But to quickly look at these other 2 names that other people were saying also should have started. We have this man in Trae Young. Trae Young is also, I think a lot of people, and why, yes, this technically shouldn't count, but I guess whatever. A lot of people probably wouldn't say Trae Young just for the simple fact that his team is not in the best position right now. His team is just not in the best place right now. I believe they're like under 500 or barely above 500. And I don't even think they're in a play-in right now. So I can understand why some people be like, "Oh, Trae Young shouldn't have started or shouldn't start because his team is ass, and the other 2 guys are helping their teams win," which is fair, I guess. But if you want to just go off numbers alone and also just looking at impact as well as this nigga Trae Young, like look who he's playing with. But looking at the season again, it's been healthy. Games played, games started, 27 points per game. 3 rebounds, 11 assists per game, a steal, putting up averaging about 4 turnovers, but we kind of expected seeing he's the primary ball handler. Shooting splits is kind of down this year, putting up 42% from the field and 36% from 3 and 86% from the free throw line. But also, again, I'm not gonna hold him too much. Hold him over him too much because of the simple fact that he is the primary ball handler, and the fact that DeJounte is most likely gonna get moved, and he's also having kind of a down year. So everything, and they don't have another shot creator on that team, so everything runs through Trae Young. So I would give him a small bit of a leeway, but I understand it. He wouldn't have been my starter choice, but I've heard some people, saying he should have started over Damian Lillard. But I think along with Brunson, this guy was a very, very, very his name was screamed pretty loudly. And that is none other than Cleveland's own Donovan Mitchell. He's averaging the most out of the 3, putting up damn near 28 points per game. And also while Cleveland isn't as good as we'd like them to be, I believe they are technically still a playoff team right now. But looking at his career numbers right now, not career numbers, but his numbers for the regular season, putting up 28 points per game, almost 6 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game, 2 steals a game, while shooting 46% from the field, 35% from the 3, and shooting 86% from the free throw line. If we want to look at his last 5 games as well, he's putting up 26, 6, 8, 2 on 46, 33, and 72 splits, which isn't bad. So again, Donovan Mitchell is kind of another one where he's producing his team while not the way we'd like them to be and performing. They still are technically a playoff team. And also, is another thing dealing with Cleveland is that they are just really hurt. They are very, very hurt. Very fucking hurt. And also with players just underperforming. This might be another reason why he's leaving. Maybe this offseason. He's probably gonna be gone this offseason, or maybe the trade deadline. Who knows? It'd probably be the offseason because having these type of numbers, and still not really getting the recognition you deserve, or putting up these type of numbers and still not equating to wins or equating to a solid seeding or shit like that. I don't know, man. He did just come off putting up 32 on the Bucks, so I don't know. Well, he's again, I think out of all three of those guys, Brunson to me deserved it the most, just for the simple fact of the type of month that he's been having, and not just, excuse me, with him in particular, with the entire Knicks team as a whole, going from being one of the worst defenses in the league to essentially being the fourth best team in the league. And if we want to be a little bit more technical and go look at his stats for the month of January, let me pull those up really quickly. If we want to look at his, I think, because I believe he's been going like crazy. Where? Oops. Okay, so we switch from, here it is. Oh, last 5 games is crazy. Damn. That's another thing. We got to talk about the crazy explosions and all these games. Here it is. So for the month of January, oops. Yeah. Boom. Move this. So for the entire month of January, these are the numbers he's been putting up. Putting up 28 points per game, damn near 8 assists, about like 4 rebounds, shooting 37% from the field, damn near 50% from the field, 37% from the three, 49% from the field, shooting damn near 89% from the free throw line. Again, man, while the Knicks, if you want to even go look at their record, win, sadly. And then he didn't even play in the DMPs, but only lost 2 games. So they're 11-2. I'm sorry, 11-2. I said 11-4. So 2 losses and then win. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, man. And if to be fair, we'll look at Trae Young's month, January month, and also look at Donovan Mitchell's or even Dame's. But I don't think it has anything to do with, or it doesn't even come close to any like theirs. So yeah, looking at Trae Young's this month, putting up 23 points, shooting not even 30% from the field, shooting just below 40%, and also shooting 86 from the free throw line. Yeah. And I don't even think we need to look at Don, but we'll look at Donovan Mitchell just to be fair to the other guys. And I know I don't need to look at Dame's. Oop, I clicked the wrong one. I don't need to look at Dame's because I know Dame's is bad right now because he's been kind of in a shooting slump. I think Donovan's is probably the closest thing to it. He's putting up 27, 2 steals. 2 steals is really what's getting me. 2 steals, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 80% from the free throw line, 36 from the three, 46 from the field, I believe, and also being active for all these games. So, but yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that Brunson should have started, but that's neither here nor there. Again, I'm happy. Dame, this is the first time he started in his entire career, I believe. So good on Dame. But I just feel like this was not the year for him to start when you have realistically like three other candidates that realistically could have started. Four if you even want to throw in Tyrese Maxey, but he's kind of like calmed down after his hot start. But shit, if you want to even want to throw in Tyrese Maxey could have started over Dame too. So it is what it is. But to move on, we go and look at the Western Conference starters, and I feel like they got this relatively perfect. I don't think there's any um anybody that's out of position or anybody that's wrong. So we have the backcourt of Shea and Luca. Again, some people has been saying Luke Curry got snubbed. I, I can understand it. I can understand. But if fucking Dame can make it and he's been shooting bad as a starter, and I think Dame, who's had relatively a just an off season this whole season, and Curry, who's kind of been in a slump lately. He's picked it up of late, like literally just not so long ago, but he's kind of been in a slump lately, so I can understand. And Shea and Luca has just that's just been phenomenal from start to finish. Not to say Curry hasn't. He's also been phenomenal, but these two have just been relatively just amazing all season long. So I don't have a problem with these. Not Luca, Jokic, KD, again, self-explanatory. I don't think I'd have a problem with. I will say, and I know again, going back to this, 50% is fan votes. Oops. 50% is fan votes. So majority of the fans are going to vote for LeBron James over Nikola Jokic. But if we're being for real, Jokic probably should have been captain. But because LeBron James, I don't want to say it's weird because I don't want to say LeBron's had a bad year because he hasn't. Um, but needed that in my mouth for sure. But when you have Anthony Davis, who is honestly performing better than him on the team, is the best player on the Lakers as of right now. Um, I believe this captain probably should have went to to Jokic, but again, the 50% is what's really going. Them niggas is gonna vote for LeBron more than Jokic to be the captain. And personally, I don't think Jokic gives a shit. So it is what it is. But speaking of Anthony Davis, I've noticed some people were saying that AD should have been the starter and over LeBron James. And I can see it. Again, Anthony Davis this whole season has been nothing short of amazing. He's kind of slumped a little bit, but he's been relatively healthy. And looking at his last 5 games, again, you can see he's kind of slumped. It fell off a cliff a little bit. But there was a point where Davis was putting up crazy, crazy numbers. And just to even go more in depth with it, just to even go more in depth with it, just to give him his due diligence, will show him. So yeah, there were stretches where he was just putting up crazy numbers. There were stretches he was just putting up crazy, crazy. I believe it was around the end season tournament. When was that? Like December? So like the month of December. This nigga AD was just going stupid, bro. Yeah, this nigga AD was just going stupid. Move this woman off my page. This nigga AD was going stupid. I think the month of January he's kind of slowed down, but yeah, for like the whole month of like December he was going stupid, putting up damn near 20 of the game, 2 blocks, 4 assists, 12 boards, shooting almost 80% from the field, 35%, almost 36% from the three, 55 from the field. Yeah. And while being healthy as well, I believe he played outside of one game. He played relatively every single game. So yeah, shouts out to AD, man. Oh wait, that's the full month of December. So his numbers are even better. His numbers are even better because I mixed in like some January days, but his numbers the entire month of December, he was very, very good. And then looking now, going oops, going there we go. Going from January to now, he's kind of slowed down a little bit. So yeah, he's kind of slowed down a little bit. but relatively still putting up all-star numbers. Same thing with Bron. Bron had a little stretch where he was playing phenomenal. Oh wait, I forgot. I can't. I gotta actually type in the shit. But Bron had a stretch where he was, Jesus Christ. Look at all this. That's a lot. Also, speaking of LeBron, shout out to him for, why is one of his nickname the Little Emperor? Who the fuck calls him the Little Emperor? Is you niggas out here calling this nigga the Little Emperor? Please, I pray. I pray no one's out here calling this man LeBron James the Little Emperor. That's so nasty. But yeah, there was shout out to LeBron as he has the most all-star votes ever, the most all-star games ever. So shout out to him, man. Shout out to LeBron James, dog. He's doing the shit. I believe with him now, he just passed up Kareem, who was in front of him. So shout out to LeBron. But looking at his month of December, which is again was around was that around the in-season tournament? Yeah, I believe that was around like the in-season tournament ish. Unless it's up here. No, I think it was like around the season tournament. So him and AD was just going bonkers, and even now, when we look at his numbers for like the month of January, he's kind of slowed down a little bit. Yeah, even putting up worse numbers than Anthony Davis. But yeah, even still putting up phenomenal numbers. But I can understand people saying that AD should have started over LeBron. But again, I can understand LeBron also being a captain, let alone a starter. So, but yeah, these again, outside of Dame, these would have been my starters. Swap out Brunson for Dame, and that would have been my starting lineup. But again, gotta bring it back to the format with the 50% voting being from fans, 25% NBA players, and the other 25% media panel. I can understand. I'm not too upset with someone like Dame making it, and someone like Bron making it, and someone like Curry not making it. So, but yeah, all in all, perfectly fine. Lineups. I don't have too much of a problem with these outside of like one person. But I already went over who got snubbed. I kind of mixed in. The who got snubbed. So we're just gonna skip over that and just go straight to around the world or around the NBA as a whole. So looking at the NBA and the games that are playing, let's actually see who's playing tonight. The Knicks are beating the brakes off of the Heat. Jeez Louise. These should be some fun games tonight. Lakers at Warriors. What else? That's only one game on ABC. That's it. And then Joel and Jokic. All right. So looking at last night, all in all, we have Booker, who didn't even get talked about last night, mind you, dropping 62 in a loss. But Luka Doncic dropped 73 points, and they barely won that game, by the way, against the Atlanta Hawks. Trying to see anybody else. Anthony Simons dropped 40. I'm trying to see where was the day that Joel dropped 70. Here it is. Joel dropped 70. Oh, and what else happened that night? Cat dropped 62. Oh, and what else happened that night? Tatum dropped 39. Kevin Durant dropped 35, 45, 43. Why couldn't I say that? DeJounte dropped 35. So, is there a scoring problem in the NBA as I'm going through the rest of these games to see if there was any big explosion? And dropped 38. Booker dropped 46 on the Mavs. I'm trying to see, was there any other big explosions? No, that's relatively it. Outside of Booker and fucking Doncic both dropping 60 plus. So is there a problem with the NBA in scoring? Yes and no. Now, I was talking with some people and seeing people have these debates about that offense has essentially, I don't want to say ruined the NBA, but it's gotten to a point where it's like, nigga, does NBA players today stop playing defense? Are they not just as talented defensively? Yada, yada, yada. Excuse me. And I think that's a yes and no. Let me explain. Um, and just watching a bunch of podcasts involving NBA players, watching shit like First Take and hear them talk about it and things of that nature. And just to come to my conclusion, I think the NBA does have a scoring problem, but not for the reason that you think. I don't think it's the reason of all players today just suck at playing defense and the league is too soft. Stop that old head shit. Please stop it. Please, please stop it. While yes, you can't clothesline somebody and call it defense. You can't play prison ball no more and call it defense. Yes, the whistles do fly a little bit more frequently than they did back in the day, but I don't even think that's the case. I'm not going to sit here and say that players, we have just like a Michael Jordan, a Scottie Pippen, a fucking Gary Payton on defense on every single team. I'm not going to sit here and do that. However, there are some still talented defenders in this league currently today. It's just that the players today, just from the players that I was going through from this week alone. I didn't even talk about from this month, from last month, from the start of the season to possibly what could even happen later on in the season. Just from this week alone, we had two players drop 70. Dude, Doncic dropped 70, 73. Joel dropped 70. Two players being Booker and Cat dropped 62 to be exact. Bunch of players dropped 40. KD dropped 40. D Book dropped 40. Bunch of players putting up 30, damn near 35 plus. The shit, players today are just so offensively gifted. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. Like when you had, like, we may not have in today's league uh defensive stopper on every single team, but god damn it, on every single team, you realistically have a player that could give you shit 20 fucking 4. 20, damn, not even just 24. There's a player on every single team on all 30 teams right now in the NBA that could give you 20, that could average 20 and more. Realistically. So taking that into account, and also all the rules that benefit offensive players. While yes, there are some rules the NBA kind of trying to shift it back, making flopping a technical foul, taking out the rule where you can jump and then pump fake and jump into a nigga and then shoot. They're taking that shit out. Even though I still see referees call it every now and then, they just kind of forget, like, oh yeah, that's a foul. It's like, nigga, that's not, you can't call it no more. But the league is trying to get to a point where it's like defense can actually play defense without breathing on a nigga, to where the days where players had to defend James Harden like this and pray he didn't miss or pray that help would come. I think we're past those days. However, I was talking to some people in Discord and, having discussions and things of that nature. And people were saying that, maybe take away defensive 3 seconds. So to the point where the big Kanye and Euro basketball, you can just have Rudy just roam, just stand in the paint the whole time. Just have him do this. Joel can just sit in the paint. Cat can just sit in the paint. Whoever you want, the big can just sit in the paint. And while, yes, that would take away drives to the basket as frequently, the problem with that is the league has evolved so fucking much to the point where them niggas are just going to shoot you out of the paint, to where they force the big to, you're going to have to come out. You're going to have to come out. If not, we're just going to shoot you out the game. Point blank, period. Like, imagine trying to run a fucking 2-3. That's why niggas don't run 2-3 zone no more. That's why niggas don't even think about running 2-3 zone no more. Because the league is just so talented with shooting. It's no point. They're just gonna shoot you out that zone. It's just like, all right, just go back to man. So I think really the only rule that you could bring back that could possibly slow this stuff down, not stop. Notice I didn't say stop, but slow this league down in terms of scoring, you would have to bring back hand checking. And yes, I'm not one of those people that thinks hand checking is completely gone. Hand checking is still in the NBA. It is. In that post, them niggas is hand checking like a motherfucker. Once you get past that 3-point line, boom, hand check, hand check, hand check. They're hand checking you. It's just that perimeter players, and that, like, I think when it comes to hand check, I think people just generally don't know the definition of hand checking. Hand checking is that, say, if Marcus Smart is guarding a Steph Curry, if this was the 2000s, he can essentially put his hand on Steph Curry's waist and push that nigga to where he want him to be. You want to come to the top of the key? No, bitch, go over there. You're going to go to that corner. I can physically guide you to where I want you to go. That's what hand checking is. So I think realistically, the only way you could really give defenses a chance to even slow down offensive players is, for one, take away some of these rules. So I think they're doing that with flopping, taking away pump faking, jumping, shit like that. They're taking away those rules for offensive players to give defenders a chance, and also bring back for real hand checking, like to where you can put your hand on a fucking player for as long as you want to, without, obviously yanking that nigga across the floor, like in a legal way, I guess you could say. So, and I think with that is also so for one thing, the defensive 3 seconds, no. It would play teams would abandon that shit after one game. They were like, yeah, we're never doing that shit no more. Just keep doing what we've been doing. There's no point. But 2, bringing back hand checking, while yes would slow down offensive players a little bit, I think it would kind of blur the line on what is, well, he has his hand on him while he's shooting, but he takes away, but he lands. So it's like, is that a foul? Like, I can hand check you, but like, is that a foul? He's got his hand on him while he's laying up, but he's pushing him away. Is that a foul? So it blurs the line on what's a foul and what's not. Once it comes probably within just really anything involving shooting. So that blurs the line a little bit. And also, I think what doesn't get talked about enough in terms of offense versus defense is the referees. It depends on what type of referee group or referee squad you have. Same thing with talking about a team and what team is better than the other, or what team affects this team in this way. It depends on the personnel on the roster. Same thing with offense versus defense on how games are going to be called. It depends on the referees. You can have the rules set out for them. These are the rules. These aren't the rules. You can call these. Don't call these. Simple. It depends on the ref. It depends on what the ref feels like calling that day. So, again, you're going to have some referees that's going to swallow their whistle and be like, ref, that was a foul. Nigga, I'll call it next time. Go down the court. And that's it. Some refs going to let them play through it. Some refs, foul, foul, foul. Oh, ref, technical, get out of it. Like, it depends. It solely depends on the refs and the personnel. So, it just depends. It depends. I think having a hand check it back, I don't think it would, again, stop offensive players, because, again, I think we downplay how talented offensively these NBA players are in today's game. Like, just with some of the players that I listed alone from this week that's been dropping 40, 60, 70 twice in fucking the span of a couple days, are some of the most gifted offensive players in this league that we have. And they're just doing that shit with no question. So, again, it depends. It really does depend. It really does depend. So yeah, I'm interested to hear you guys' thoughts on what you think the NBA should do to essentially give defenses a chance. Because if this keep going, we gonna probably see a 200 game. Not two. We gonna see a 200-point game. I wouldn't say this season. We probably gonna see a 200-point game within like the next couple of years. Because the way this offense is going, it's it's going. It's definitely going. But I just wanted to put my 2 cents on that because I know it's a lot of people been talking about that, and all that other stuff. But looking at a certain team, I wanted to give my 2 cents on as well. The Milwaukee Bucks. And why do I want to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks? Because I want to talk about one Doc Rivers. I want to talk about one Doc Rivers. What's his name? What's that nigga name? Glenn Rivers. That nigga name is Glenn Rivers. Oh man. Doc. Now, obviously, I wasn't I didn't make a video, wake up call or anything about, which I need to do. I need to start doing the wake up calls. But yeah, I didn't do a wake up call about the Doc thing because I was prepping for the All-Star thing, and then All-Star vid, and I just pulled it back or whatever. But as you may know, Doc Rivers, if you do not know, former NBA commentator for like half the first season, is now the coach for the Milwaukee Bucks. Oh, excuse me. Oh, man. And I know some people are thinking, well, that should be a good thing. Doc Rivers, seasoned coach, great regular season coach, even though we were 30-13 with Adrian Griffin prior to his firing. Yes, he was a rookie head coach. Wasn't the greatest head coach, but it is what it is. But we go grab a coach that has a history of blowing 3-1 leads. So much that he leads the league of all coaches with the most blown 3-1 leads, I believe, with 5. Let that sink in. 5 blown 3-1 leads. Oh. Okay. So to give my honest opinion about Doc, first off, to give my honest opinion about Adrian Griffin, I really didn't have an opinion about Adrian Griffin. If I'm being honest. I felt so indifferent about him. It's not even funny. So with Adrian Griffin, I could tell because with all the reports coming out that um he lost the locker room and players having tried to have players sacrificing and all this other stuff. I kind of figured like, yeah, he doesn't. And then even after the game, I think, but the game prior to his firing, when they were like in jeopardy of losing to the Detroit Pistons, they didn't lose, but they were like very, very close in like a 5-point game with the Detroit Pistons prior to his firing. I kind of found like, yeah, this nigga, he won't be here for long. I'm thinking to myself, he will not be here for long. But I didn't think he was gonna get fired this soon. I thought he was gonna lose his job maybe through the off season if we didn't perform in the playoffs, or I thought maybe he gets a year, maybe 2 at best, and then we kick him to the curb. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Um, so, and what's even crazier is that this man Doc was mentoring Adrian Griffin behind the scenes on what to do while being the head coach for the Bucks, and then to turn around a couple weeks or months later, whatever. Now this nigga's the head coach of the same like this nigga was dirty macking fucking Adrian Griffin before he got like It's crazy to me. It's crazy. That nigga Doc always gets a job. I don't know how. I thought he was going to be gone for a minute. If anything, I thought he would have coached like a Houston Rockets type team or Charlotte Hornets. He would have been perfect for Charlotte. Why ain't go to Charlotte? Why you gotta coach Milwaukee, man? Damn, he would have been perfect for fucking Charlotte, dog. But whatever. My thoughts on the Doc trade or the Doc signing. I was talking to some friends about it and just hearing other Milwaukee Bucks fans input about it. A lot of people are mixed. Some people are, I want to say mixed. A lot of people are skeptical, rightfully so. Again, the most blown 3-1 leagues in NBA history by a single coach. That scares the shit out of me. And it doesn't help that Philadelphia and Joel Embiid is scary this year. The Miami Heat is always there. Boston is still Boston and better than ever. Like there's other teams that's in this Eastern Conference that could possibly give us a scare, like an Orlando Magic, like a Cleveland. Shit, I wouldn't even be surprised if fucking I don't goddamn no Atlanta scares it. Like there's the East is so unfucking predictable, and I know we would win those a lot of these series just strictly off talent. And also didn't mention New York as well. The Knicks would scare us. But I strongly believe we got to being 30-13. Again, let me actually look at what's our record right now. Because we're 31-14. So we're 31-14. And then overall, I believe would be what? Top 3? We'd be what? Top 4? We'd be at technically what? A top 4 team. So we'd have the 4th best record behind Boston, OKC, and the Timberwolves. So yeah, we'd have the fourth best record as a whole, as a team. So yeah, just in case, just show y'all this. So yeah, Boston, number 1 seed, self-explanatory. OKC and both Minnesota have the same amount of wins, and then there's us with 31-14. So we'd be, I believe, the fourth. We'd be the 4th best team in all of basketball, which that's what I'm okay with. Again, coming in prior to this season, I said that it would be Philly, Boston, and Milwaukee fighting for those top 3 seeds. It really didn't matter what order you had them in. I said pick one. I believe I had, if I remember correctly, I had kind of the order that it's in right now. I think I had Boston, Milwaukee, and Philly. But the way that all 3 of those 3 teams have been playing, and their stars have been playing, I would not be shocked if by the end of the season it's Milwaukee, Philly, Boston. I would not be shocked at all. So, but I believe that we got to that record being 30-13 or 31-14 strictly just off talent, just strictly off having the duo of a Damian Lillard and a Giannis Antetokounmpo, while having a Chris Middleton who has been very bad this year, Brook Lopez who's who's showing his age a little bit. Bobby Portis is still Bobby Portis, and just solid role players here and there. But we strictly just got into this record just off talent alone. We haven't even seen the best version of this team yet. And I don't think we will be able to see this best version of this team until we hit probably the playoffs, which I sound like a broken record again because I said this for Philadelphia all season long. Oh, we haven't seen the best version of this team. We haven't seen the best version of this team. Jesus Christ. I don't know what's my affinity for teams not reaching their potential, but I swear to God, if Milwaukee blows a 3-1 lead, you people probably won't even see me again. I'm being so serious. From Philly getting blown out and finishing off the season terribly, Milwaukee, if we blow a 3-1 lead, knock on wood, I pray we don't. I'm going to lose my mind. And I think would really send me over the edge if the Yankees are ass. Those are my 3 teams, by the way, if you didn't know. if the Yankees are ass with the acquiring of Juan Soto. If those three things happen, okay. If those three things happen, I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. I would lose my fucking mind. But regardless, Doc, what does he bring to Milwaukee? That's a great question that I simply don't know the answer to because I don't know what he brings to Milwaukee, if I'm being honest. What do you bring to Milwaukee that Adrian Griffin wasn't already doing? That would be the question that I would pose to someone like a Doc Rivers. What do you bring as a coach to a team that had the best record or second best record in the Eastern Conference and was a top 3, top 4 team overall in the entire NBA? What could you possibly bring to one of the best offenses? Obviously, the focal point would be defense. And there's some stuff that he said about defense, being better at hiding Damian Lillard, allowing Giannis to roam more, where Giannis thrives more in being a help defender, allowing him to roam more, things of that nature. But I think the biggest focal point of his argument was hiding Damian Lillard because there's no, in watching a lot of these games, Damian Lillard is at the top of the key trying to guard point guards. And and I know that the point guard is probably the deepest position in the entire NBA. From the top of the top to even mid-tier point guards are cooking Damian Lillard. Jordan Clarkson and them niggas are cooking Damian Lillard. Colin Sexton and them niggas are cooking Damian Lillard. So I think the biggest thing where he spoke about defense was letting Giannis roam more because that's where he thrives and, which I don't disagree with. That's really how he won a lot of his defensive player of the years. That's how he won his DPOY, was him being a really, really good fucking help defender. Letting Brook Lopez do his thing, being a rim protector, etc., etc. But offensively, what do you do differently? The only thing I can think of is run more two-man game between Dame and Giannis. Adrian Griffin could have figured that out. I don't know if maybe Doc was mentoring him on that and he just wasn't doing it, or I don't fucking know. But when I look and listen to, Doc and just going strictly off past history and going strictly off of the past talent. And I think that's what fucks me up most. Because if he had not very talented teams and he just struggled with those teams and just blew leads with just subpar mid-level teams, then that's fine. That's cool. I'd still be skeptical because it's like, all right, nigga, you have a history of choking, but this is probably going to be your talented team. If you didn't have so much talent beforehand, you're coming off of a team where you just had Joel Embiid and James Harden and Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris. And y'all niggas choked to fucking Boston. The same team that we most likely are going to have to play. So what adjust? And that's the big word. What adjustments can you make from learning from your mistakes of having someone like a Joel Embiid going to a Giannis, having someone like a James Harden going to a Damian Lillard? What adjustments could you make that could possibly make us a better team? And that's the big problem because Doc is known for not making adjustments. Come playoff time, that nigga is very well known for not making on the spot adjustments, as a great coach should. So that's what scares me because it's like we got to where we are strictly off talent, strictly in spite of Adrian Griffin. The Bucks got to where they were strictly in spite of Adrian Griffin. So when it comes playoff time, and God forbid we're down in the series or we're, losing some steam in the series, and then they look to you to coach, are you going to be able to do that is the question. And I don't know if he can, but I'm praying he proves me wrong. I'm hoping, and I am hoping he proves me wrong. And this can be the 1 year since '08 he wins a title. I'm hoping that it's the case. But if we're being for real, that's probably not the case. But we'll see. Let's just quickly look at this article real quick. Um, Based off what Doc was saying and, him being ready for the challenge. You know, he said also at first, well, he said, I wasn't going to take the job. I've been contacted several times this season and I wouldn't even take the call. I was dead serious. If the right opportunity opened, I would listen. If not, I was fine. Joe Purdy, the assistant coach who was the intermediate head coach after the Adrian Griffin firing, he worked his final game, will work his final game against New Orleans, which is, I believe, today. So yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't know, man. I don't know. And then his first game is gonna be against the fucking Nuggets. Jesus Christ. Oh lordy, 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 lordy. Oh man, man, man. This should be a fun rest of the season, man. But also, last thing I wanted to address was the All-Star weekend as a whole. I talked about earlier in the episode talking about how I think the All-Star game as a whole has gotten stale. Or not the All-Star game, but how All-Star weekend as a whole has gotten stale and what they should probably do to fix it. And what they should do has been right in front of them the whole time. Everyone has been asking for it. Fans, players, media, former players, former fans, like everyone's been asking for it. Please just bring a fucking 1v1 tournament. Adam Silver. If you're gonna do East versus West, have the best Eastern Conference players, one-on-one Eastern Conference players, play the best Western Conference players in a one-on-one tournament. Shit, you can do it to where you have guards, forwards, bigs. Do it like that. Have it in one night. And if you be like, well, there's too many events, the Rising Star, Skills Challenge, 3-point challenge, dunk contest, then get the fucking Rising Star Challenge out of there. I cannot remember the last time I watched the Rising Star Challenge and actually was entertained by it. Last year when I think when it was in Utah, they were doing it like 3 a team and all this other shit. That shit is so no. If anything, just get rid of the Rising Star Challenge. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. And I don't think they will because Wemby is scheduled to be in it. I think, or rumored to be in it. I don't know. Because I think they're still doing like teams or some shit. Or I don't know. I'm hoping if they're gonna do it, just go back to what it was before. Just go back to what it was before. If you want to just have it where it's just big versus big and then guards versus guards, then go back and do it like that. Because the whole 3 team and 3 teams and the Kumpo Bros and then the home team gets a team and it's like just that no one cares about that shit. It's like, oh, I can pass it through the net and I can hit a mid range. It's like just take that shit out of it. And all honestly, I just think the 1-on-1 tournament would just be so much good. And I know the fear of not getting stars to do it because I think that's what is making Adam Silver so hesitant to do it. Just for the simple fact of we probably won't get a Kevin Durant every year to do it. We probably won't get a Kyrie Irving to do it every year. But for the first year, it's for one, it's a pride thing. Well, I believe it was Gil, who himself also asked for a 1v1 tournament on Gil's Arena when they was talking about it. They said players are gonna want to do it because it's a pride thing. Yeah, nigga, I beat you. I beat you. And we've seen with something like the in-season tournament, which a lot of people thought, including myself, I didn't think the in-season tournament was going to be as good as it was. A lot of people thought the in-season tournament was going to be kind of or some people just downright thought it was going to be ass. And we saw how great that was. The fans and not only the players are more open to try different shit. They're open to do different things. So I'm not understanding why would we not want to implement something new? If you feel like All-Star Weekend has been stale to the point where you have to take away the team-based All-Star game where it's Team LeBron, Team Jokic, Team Curry, whatever, to the point where you have to physically bring it back to the tradition where it's East versus West when we left that because niggas was saying it was stale, then I don't think it's the game itself in particular that's making it stale. I think it's the entire weekend as an event that's what's becoming stale. 3-point contest and a dunk contest has both shown you that it can be exciting. There's had their down years, but when they're up and up, they're up. From dunk contest to phenomenal 3-point contest, 3-point shooting, that's fine. I wouldn't touch the celebrity game just for the simple fact that just let the celebrities ball. But the Rising Star Challenge, get that shit out of here. Get it out of here. I genuinely cannot remember the last time I was actually excited or was genuinely like saw some crazy shit in a skills challenge. If you want to do a skills challenge, just turn it into just show off the skills in a 1v1 tournament. Just do that. Just do that. And I guarantee you, people would love that so much. You can switch it around where you have the 3-point contest go first, dunk contest, 1v1 tournament, dunk contest. You can have it around whatever you want. I would personally have the 1-on-1 tournament be last, just because motherfuckers want it so bad. But just make it work, bro. Make it work. Just give it a shot. And if the thing is, if it doesn't work, they can always, because the NBA has shown if something doesn't work, they will go back to the old shit. Like the perfect example is the All-Star game itself. They felt that the team captain shit didn't work, so they just went back to East versus West. If you feel like the 1-on-1 tournament doesn't work for a couple years or give it a chance, you can always just scrap it. You can always just scrap it and just go back to the Rising Star Challenge or go back to something else. So that's just my 2 cents. I believe I don't think on this YouTube era, in my YouTube era of the Lazy Cast, I've brought up the 1v1 tournament, but I'm pretty sure I brought up the 1v1 tournament and just the Lazy Cast as a whole. And like I said, when you have media analysts, YouTubers, fans, and players themselves saying we want this, and Adam Silver has not pulled the trigger on it yet. I understand the cons to it. Some players can get injured. Again, star power. We don't know what players would do it. Not every year we're probably going to get a Kevin Durant or a Paul George or a Kawhi Leonard or this and that. But when you have these fucking players saying, yeah, I'll do it, nigga, do it. It seems self-explanatory to me, and also with everyone wanting it, that shit is going to sell. Like, you see how many videos, I don't know why I clicked on that because I'm still ranting. You see how many fucking views and videos we get when we see players working out in the off season, when they're playing 1-on-1 and 2-3 dribbles, like that USA shit from a couple years ago. All them people ate that shit up. Now imagine if that was in an all-star setting. Just imagine if that was an all-star setting and they were playing for money and pride. Just imagine. You probably would get even better performances. You can crown someone at the end, whether fucking be a Kevin Durant. Let's just say Kevin Durant wins the whole thing. That nigga gets like $500K in a trophy. End of story. Or if you don't want to give these players money, you can always give it to charity or some shit. But like I said, man, I think that would very much benefit and very much help the All-Star weekend as a whole. I don't think the All-Star game was the problem. I wish they would have went back or left it how it was, where it was team captain, where the two players with the most votes just pick who they wanted and left it at that. But I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. But relatively shorter episode, I guess you can say, of the Lizcast. But again, I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know what you guys' thoughts. What would you do to fix the All Star weekend? What would you do? You think the All Star game is the problem? Do you think the NBA and Adam Silver made the right decision and going back to East versus West, or do you think they should have went a totally different direction? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. But with that all being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. It's episode 20 of the LazyCast. I'm your gracious host, Jalen. That has been Moji Me, Grogu right behind him. Probably can't see him because my light is super bright. But this is real me, and I will see you guys later. And also, still update, I guess, on the last video, on that's the third video that's supposed to come out this week. I am this close. I am this close. I'm almost done with it. Again, one of the biggest videos. It's probably not gonna be the longest video, but one of the biggest videos I've worked on, and very hard work I'm doing this on. So that should be out again either tomorrow. That should be out either tomorrow or at the latest Monday, because I really want to get this out before I leave and go out of town, because I'm a really be upset with myself if I don't get this out before I leave, because I know once I leave I'm probably not gonna work on it when I'm out of town, and I would hate to push this shit off for that goddamn long. But anyway, hope you all enjoy. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share it with your mama, share it with your daddy, share it with your auntie, share it with everybody, and tell them how great the Lazy Gas is. But yeah, I've been gracious. Wait, can I get the balloons to go? Hey, hold on. I found another one actually. Let me see. I found another one. If they were yeah. And then last one. Yeah. Uh this is episode 20. I love you guys. Thank you. Peace.